What is good? This is ahead of the spread presented by Wager Talk. We're going to check out three games in the NBA for tomorrow. We're going to check out the open numbers, notable line movements, key matchups, and angles. So you have an early edge on those games for tomorrow. I'm Ron Kabang, hosting the show today solo. I mean, Skee has done a whole bunch of solo shows while I'm out of town or if I'm sick. So gonna rock solo today. He's out in Vegas, kicking it. I think there's a lot of people out there for the championship game, so he's out hanging out. So rocking solo today. I'll go through three games. Those three games will be Celtics, Knicks, Wolves, Bucks, and Warriors, Suns. Before I go into the games for tomorrow, gotta talk about how I did today. 0-0. Did not bet anything today. I wanted to have fun, watch the game. I did root for my guy Skee, but Houston didn't get the job done for him. He did get the first half, I believe. So at least he got that one. Other than that, I'm looking forward to tomorrow's bigger slate. Touching on MLB a little bit more as well as we continue to get further down the season and we get more data. As always, I'll start sharing my screen here. But before I do that, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button there and hit that notification button as well so that you don't miss any other shows on Wager Talk, not just from myself, but all the other handicappers over at Wager Talk. All right, let's share the screen here. All right, this is one second. This is Odds Logic. This is the odds page that we use. You can customize your books, how you order your sports, and all that stuff. Injuries and alerts. The 7-day free trial in the link in the description below. So make sure you guys check that out. I don't think it takes a credit card either for the free trial. So just log in or sign up with your email, I believe, and you're good to go for 7 days. All right, first game up, I talked about. We will be talking about is Celtics Knicks. All right, so Celtics opened up 2.5. This is shift down to -1 at the lowest, but still some minus 1.5s. Total opened up at 223. This has come down to as low as 221. Still some 222s I see here available. From an injury standpoint, I did pull that earlier, so I don't have to look through them. But it is so Celtics, they're going to be without Al Horford, Jalen Brown, and KP, and Tatum. They're all questionable. And then we have Derek White and Drew Holiday, who are probable. My assumption is it's shifting the way that it is because of their injury report. On the Knicks side, Brunson and McBride both are probable. Over at themoneyballer.com, if you guys want to try that out, you can see that link in that banner scrolling below. So make sure you guys try that out. You can get a 3-day free trial as well in that one. Situational note here for the Celtics. First game of a back-to-back for them. On the Knicks side, double-digit in-season revenge. Third game in 4 nights for them as well. This is their first road game following 3 straight home games for the Celtics. I mentioned that first of a back-to-back. They do go to Orlando tomorrow. So first of a back-to-back plus travel. The Knicks, this is their second home game. Then they head to Detroit in a couple days. Other things to mention here from a playoff standpoint, I think the Knicks and Celtics kind of locked into their spots. I mean, I think it'll be crazy if they switch, if the Knicks end up switching their spot to I think it's the fourth or something like third and fourth. So I think that I think they're locked into their spot. So as far as motivation, I don't think there's too much to go there. But one thing to mention, the Knicks as home dogs rarely happens, but when they do, they tend to struggle. 0-4 straight up, 0-4 ATS, and a lot of it has to do with their defense. Their defense really struggles in this situation. If we look at the last 10 games, if you look at the Celtics as road favorites this season, 31-5 straight up. On the first leg of back-to-back games, 10-2. The number is at the point where we could say, who's going to win this game. So the trends kind of look towards the Celtics side. If you go to the last 10 games, recent form, it kind of points to the Celtics again. You can see first in offensive rating for the Celtics, eighth defensive rating. I know they don't force a lot of turnovers, but what they do is contest very well. So fourth in the effective field goal percentage allowed right there. You can see second chance points. That's another thing that they do well. Obviously, their points off turnovers not that great because they don't force a lot of turnovers, but their rebounding rate is awesome. Third in offensive rebounding rate, third in defensive rebounding rate. We have they don't push in transition either, but the Knicks do. So that's one thing that kind of kept me off the total. I like when both teams kind of are able to push in transition or are obviously not fast break teams. I know they are slow paced, but this tells me the Knicks do push in transition pretty often. So one thing that I can look at this one as far as the side goes, I would say Celtics. I think recent form, the trends and trends and recent form points towards the Celtics side. There's not much more motivation on the Knicks side than the Celtics, since they're kind of locked in from the playoff perspective. But at the same time, I would probably want to wait to see the status of these players on the Celtics side, just because that number would move depending on who is out and who is in. But regardless, I would look towards the Celtics side. Real quick, just gonna look at the chat here. I do see a lot of stuff here. Uh, BD, he's out kicking it in at the books. I think a lot of people came into town for the championship game, so he's hanging out with some people out there. All right, so Horford, Horford celebrating in Florida. Yeah. Scott G agrees. Yeah, both pretty locked in. BD on the under makes sense to me. Both teams slow pace. I just don't like how the Knicks push in transition. Also, um, Brunson in the lineup for me. I don't like taking the under when they're in the lineup. Let's see. Celtics better on the road than at home on the season. Let's see here. From an ATS perspective, is that what you're saying? Let me check. I mean, from a sorry, right here, 2015, yeah, slightly better. All right, Scott G, yeah, long injury report. So I would say just wait for the status of those guys, and then regardless of the number, I would still look towards the Celtics side. Well, actually, let me take that back. If it switches over to the Knicks being favored, I'll probably stay off. But if they are the underdog, depending on who's in, I would take the Celtics. All right, let's get to the second game. Wolves and Bucks. We have the Wolves. Wolves opened up at -2.5. This has shifted already to -4. 222.5 the total at open. This has gone up as high as 223.5. So 222 is available. Why is 222 available at FanDuel? If you like the over, that would be the spot to go. Yeah, pretty much fours across the board from a side perspective, except for BetMGM, 3.5 there. From an injury perspective, we got Terrence Shannon questionable for the Wolves. On the Bucks side, Lillard and Jericho Sims out. You got Giannis and Pat Connaughton questionable on the Bucks side. If I'm looking at from a player perspective, the Bucks are fifth and are only one game ahead of the Pistons. The Wolves, so the West is crazy right now, and it's going to affect the next two games that we're talking about. Wolves, they're locked in. They're locked with Clippers, Warriors, and Grizzlies on the West. They all have the same record, and then they're only a half game behind the Nuggets, and then 2 games behind the Lakers. So from the 3 to 4 spot in the West is kind of crazy. It could shift 3 to 8 spot can shift by the end of the season here. So a whole bunch of teams there with a lot of motivation to play well. All right, so obviously from a playoff perspective, it does seem like the Wolves have more motivation here. Let's see if the trends and the stats align. What is the number again? Sorry, 4. So if we look at the trends here on the season, from an ATS perspective, Bucks strong in the first leg of back-to-back games, but they struggle when less rested. Wolves, when they have the rest advantage, are pretty solid. Some advantage there. Total perspective, it's kind of like canceling each other out here. First of a back-to-back, they are an over team, but under team when they're a home dog. I mean, so here's one thing that I can see: opponent team totals strongly lean towards the over for both opponents. So Wolves and Bucks opponents team total overs are very profitable on the season. In the situational spots, profitable here as well. So Wolves giving it up when they're the road favorite. Bucks win their first leg of back-to-back games, give it up as well. All right, let's look at last 10. All right, so looking at it here, they did push a couple of days ago on the total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight overs prior to that for the Bucks. And on the Wolves side, 2 straight unders. They played against Brooklyn and Philadelphia. Both teams, they probably didn't try that hard, if I'm being honest. So they got the wins there, but they probably didn't need to push the pace. Obviously, double-digit favorites. But prior to that, 3, 4, 5 of the last 6 went over. Last 10 games, both teams in the top 10 in offensive rating. Pace-wise, Bucks 26 in pace, so kind of slower. But right here, this is what I like to look at when I'm looking at over. So pace is slow, but they push in transition. Up top half of the league in fast break points per game. Second chance points here for the Wolves side. Free throw rate, when you have high free throw rate, that's extra opportunities to score without the time moving as well. A lot of things kind of pointing to the over here. Let's look at the trends. 6-4 to the over, 6-3-1 to the over. Road favorite situation, not an over spot the last 10 games, but they're giving up points. So I think a lot of things for me are pointing towards the over. I think that would be a better way to go. The second way to look from a side perspective, the Wolves have a little bit more motivation, so I do agree that I do agree with the line moving in that direction. Let me go to the chat here. Why are Wolves only 3.5? Not sure. Not sure. Okay, B-Man likes the Wolves. B-Man like Wolves too. Okay. You guys like the Wolves? All right. So 3.5 is too good to be true. Makes no sense. So it's one of those tricky lines for you. I mean, all right. So if we go historic matchups between these two teams, the Wolves were 9.5 at home. They're 4 on the road. I mean, earlier this season. So I mean, to me, it seems like it's a solid spot. There's no Dame. Giannis is questionable, so it makes sense to me. Mini team total over. That makes sense too. Just in case they don't cover, there's still opportunity for it to go over. Makes sense. All right, let's get to the last game. Was it Golden State and Phoenix? Yeah, Golden State and Phoenix. So Golden State -6 here at open has come up to as high as 8.5 at BetMGM, but 8's across the board. Other than that, the total 228.5 at open. This has come down to as low as 226.5 at BetMGM. A lot of 227s available, but Bet Online still has a 228. Kind of juice though too at 120. Injury perspective, we do have Warriors. They do have a clean injury report on the Sun side. KD out, Nick Richards probable. Situational spot over at themoneyballer.com. Warriors double-digit in-season revenge. They are in a bounce-back spot. They did lose to Houston as 5.5-point home favorites the other day. First up a back-to-back. They do head back home, and then Spurs come into town tomorrow, the next day. Fourth game in 6 nights as well, so somewhat of a fatigue spot. First up a back-to-back for the Suns. So they're at home again tomorrow. So here's another fade spot. First game home off a 3-game road trip cross country. So that's a tough spot for them. Also, first leg of back-to-back games. They have OKC coming into town tomorrow. From a playoff perspective, Suns, they're technically not out of the playoffs, but they're 2.5 games behind the Mavs. So Suns They only have 4 games left. The Mavs have 3, so it's going to be tough for them to take over that spot. A lot of things have to happen for them to get into the play-in, so it's going to be tough. But mathematically not out yet. On the Warriors side, they're in the same spot as the Wolves, four-way tie with the Clippers, Wolves, and Grizzlies. As far as the record goes, only a half game behind the Nuggets, 2 games behind the Lakers. So, like I said earlier, spot 3 through 8 in the West. There's a lot of shifting that could happen before the playoffs start. So obviously the Warriors do have the more motivation. One thing that I did want to mention here as well. So if we go to killersports.com, we'll go to Suns and Kevin Durant minutes equals 0. So this is when the Suns are without Kevin Durant, 2-14 straight up, 3-13 ATS, 11-5 to the over, and opponents 14-2 to their team total over. A lot of things are pointing towards the Warriors side motivation, how the Suns struggle without Kevin Durant. If we look at recent form, last 10 games, I believe the Suns one of the worst in the defense. Yeah, so 29th in defensive rating, effective field goal percentage 30th. Obviously, the Warriors' effective field goal percentage allowed is not that great either. But look at that turnover rate forced. Number 1 in turnover rate forced. Suns, they do turn the ball over at a high rate. So defensively, the Warriors should be able to take advantage of this Suns team. You can see second chance points. So obviously, offensive rebounding is going to be huge for them. You see first in points off turnovers, second in second chance points. So these little things that the Warriors do should be able to give them that advantage. The number at 8, what was it? Moving from 6 to 8 makes a lot of sense to me. It should probably be the Warriors or nothing. Let's see if the recent trends go in that direction. Suns defensively struggling. For me, it's Warriors or nothing from a side perspective. I think that trend or the trends without KD is pretty telling of how the Suns do without him in the lineup. All right, so let's go to. Let me stop sharing the screen there. That's 3 games. Oops. There you go. That was the 3 games for tomorrow. Hopefully, you guys got some great information to help you out with whatever you want to bet on those games. Let me just check the chat real quick. Golden State minus 8.5. Good. Yeah, makes sense. Golden State and the under makes sense. Maybe they bounce back and focus in on the defensive side of the ball as well. B-Man, Suns may try, but that team can't play defense. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, especially with KD out. Beal really struggling. Budenholzer experiment failed. I mean, Beal experiment failed, in my opinion. Clippers. I mean, I didn't really handicap that game. Spurs, Clippers. It's a big number. It is shifting towards the Spurs side. Let me just check one thing here. Both teams on the back, first of a back-to-back. Sorry, let me just share my screen again. So I have not capped this game, so just kind of going through it with you guys. First time looking at this one. So first of a back-to-back for both teams. Double-digit in season revenge for the Spurs. Kind of late in the season for them. Obviously, they're out of the playoffs. Clippers, well rested. 2+ days or more of rest. First of a back for them too. They got Houston on deck. They've been at home. Spurs have been traveling a ton. If we look at earlier this season, I mean, other than this game here, they dominated the matchup. If we look at trends on the season, Spurs as road dogs, really struggling here. Clippers as road favorites, solid. First of a back-to-back, solid. When more rested, solid. I mean, it seems like Clippers are nothing. Makes sense to me. One more thing to check. So if we look at Clippers, as double-digit favorites here. 6-3 straight, or sorry, 9-0 straight up, 6-3 ATS. So they are profitable as double-digit favorites here. Let me see, and we go. They're at home. 5-1 ATS, 1-5. Sorry, 5-1 to the under. Under Clippers and under. Spurs team total under. Let's look at the Spurs here. How are they doing? Spurs offense kind of struggling here. So 4 of the last 5 have gone under their team total. Went over by the hook in this one against the Nuggets, who were on the second leg of back-to-back games. This might have been that game following the double OT game. So um, the Nuggets went into double OT with the Wolves. That was the game that the Spurs won and covered the following day. So, I mean, I think their offense is kind of struggling. If you look at last 5, it's pretty tight though. Let's look at and line greater than or equal to 10. So when they're double-digit dogs, 0-8 straight up, 4-4 ATS, 5-3 to the over. But I mean, some of these games were with Wemby. Well, not these. All right, so I don't know. Sorry, who was asking that? Clippers. Clippers do have the motivation, double-digit number. That's probably what is scary because they're on the second leg of back-to-back games. What could happen here in this game? Raise the sales is they get it done in the first half and then they let off the gas pedal in the second half or towards the end of the game because they have a much more important game against Houston the next day. So I would say if you're going to bet the Clippers, maybe look towards them in the first half, just in case they let go in the second half. All right. All right. So I'll stop there. Oh, shit. Where'd I go? Okay, there you go. All right. So that's 4 games. Actually, gave you guys an extra one there. With that said, top looks for the day. I'll give you my leans for each one that we talked about. So Boston and New York, I said Celtics. If they, as long as they have the guys available, that would keep them as favorites. If obviously if Tatum, Brown, and all those guys are out, they're going to shift to a dog, and I would not back the Celtics in that situation. New York is pretty profitable as home favorites, but they're 0-4 ATS as road dogs. So if the Knicks stay as road dogs, I would look towards the Celtics side. Wolves Bucks, I think I look towards the over in that game. I think both defenses will give up some points there. Warriors Suns, Warriors side, not sure where to go from a total perspective, but I would say Warriors on the side. And then the last game that we just talked about, I would look towards Clippers first half. I would say Clippers first half would be the way to go there. All right. So that's the games for tomorrow. I'll give you the top looks, but make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button, like I mentioned earlier. Definitely helps to let Wager Talk know to keep the show going. There's the links here for Skee Profit. You can go directly to his capper page, wt.buzz/HP. For me, going straight to my capper page, wt.buzz/RC. If you want to rock with us for 7 days in the NBA, you can get a 33% off discount if you use coupon code NBA 33. We have $5 Tuesday tomorrow. So I think everyone's top plays or something like that is only $5 over at wagertalk.com. So make sure you guys check that out. I think a lot of people, they're allowed to post their plays the night before. So some people might have their $5 plays up already. I don't have mine up yet, but I do know what actually I have like 2 options that I'm choosing between. Both of them in the NBA, but I will also have MLB tomorrow as well. So I'll probably have 3 plays tomorrow. If you want to rock with me, head over to my capper page over there. And the stats, trends, and insights, the situational notes and all that stuff, That is over at themoneyballer.com. You guys can check that out. And actually, real quick, since I have you guys, I want to show you guys the MLB page over at themoneyballer.com. I know we're not touching MLB on this show specifically, but I'll let you see what it looks like because it's been very helpful for me. Starting off this season, pretty profitable. So here's one thing to look at. We go into tomorrow's games, but we do have a model. We have a rating system that we have over at themoneyballer.com. Typically shows in this corner here, but the model doesn't work until April 10th because we need extra data. We have a rating system, it teaches you how to use it, all that stuff. You can go to the glossary right here for MLB. It'll teach you how to use the model or the rating system. We have situational notes for the MLB. We didn't run; it hasn't run yet, so doesn't show. You have the schedule for the last 10 games. You have the last 5 starts for each starting pitcher. This goes back to last season as well, since not everybody has started 5 for this season. You have situational trends, so splits by starter, splits for win-loss, over/under, splits versus for a team versus left-handed starting pitcher or right-handed starter pitcher. You see first 5 full game. You can see the win-loss and over/under as well in that spot. You got run lines. You got Yerfy Nerfy for those who do that. And then you have stats here. So batting matchup, you can see the team's batting stats, advanced numbers as well. Starting pitchers, you can see that. You can see it's all color coded. So what's good, what's bad. The bullpen numbers here, and again, you can see full season, last 14, last 30, and then like I said earlier, the glossary. If you go to the glossary, it gives you some hints on how to use the rating system here. So this is the matchup rating system. You would want to look at, compare the actual odds to what the estimated odds or win probability is. You have a glossary that tells you, what, obviously, if you're new to MLB betting, there's a glossary to teach you what each stat means. A tip on, what could be helpful for that stat, comparing ISO to slugging, blah, blah, blah. So MLB is for the moneyballer.com has been pretty solid for me to start the season. And it ended the season last season pretty strong as well. So if you guys are interested in checking that out, it's not only NBA, it does have MLB. Oops. All right. That's the end of the show, guys. So went through the NBA, showed you some stuff on themoneyballer.com. Like I said, you guys can try that out, a 3-day free trial over at themoneyballer.com. All right. That is the end of the show. Whether you fade or follow, it is on you to make that call. Good luck with all your action. Till next time. Peace.